One of the big problems that I see is people basing things off of aesthetics, especially when they are reviewing stuff from masters and grandmasters outside of their own school. When you're working with a coach or a teacher, they usually will come in and do little corrections for you, and you start getting the feeling. But when people start like reading books and watching videos, there's often very little by way of actual physical explanation to go along with it, and so oftentimes you just do your best to mimic things. But there's a problem with this. There's a serious problem with this, which is that no two people have the same exact body. No two people have the same exact body proportions, and therefore things are going to look different. You cannot base things off of how things look. You have to base things off of more intelligent baselines anthropometrically, as far as joint angles you're trying to hit and things like, and even joint angles are going to be different. But you often have to find different ways to describe things than go, oh, it should look like this, because unless the person you're teaching or unless the person you're learning from has the same body type as you, it's not going to look the same. Now we have another thing in there, and this is actually the entire reason I'm making this video, is injuries pop up all the time. My shoulder's been injured for a while. Now that's barring the fact that like clinical medical definition of injury is actually already a thing that doesn't have exact consensus and is hard enough to come by. So never assume you're injured. But if we were go to towards kind of a more generalized definition of like function being impeded due to a traumatic event or pain, then even as general terms go, that's not really a clean medical definition or anything. But as that goes, injuries are very common, especially in martial arts. We kind of are practicing injuring people. It just goes with the territory. But the fact is that when injury happens, we end up going through a lot of compensatory movement. We end up compensating for those injuries. And oftentimes, if you were deconditioned or just not conditioned in the first place, you will often compensate because you have weaknesses in certain places where your body is just not prepped to do the thing correctly. So that being the case, a lot of times when you're looking at somebody who is 60, 70, 80 years old performing something, maybe it doesn't look quite right. And maybe, just maybe, that's because they're not well, either physically or health-wise. A perfect example, the 8mm video of Ip Man, he died just a few weeks after that was filmed. He was sick with cancer, he had lost all his weight, he had zero energy. The full footage, which isn't publicly available, what's publicly available has been clipped down to just the forms, but the full long footage shows him going and resting and breathing heavy between these takes because he was so very badly ill with his throat cancer. And we see the same things over and over and over again. A lot of these old guys have some pretty rocking injuries that are going to be changing them, or they've got illness that is going to change how they move. And they are no longer going to be a good physical example of of any aesthetic quality of what you're doing. Doesn't mean that they can't still perform, it just means, one, that performance is going to take a lot more out of them, and two, they may not be able to physically do it cleanly or ideally. And that being the case, you always have to be careful about, so-and-so looked like this, so you should make it look like this. Well, what is the state of their condition? What's their body type? What's their injury and health status? Those things really do matter. You can't just base things off of how it looks. It's like, buying a car because it's the pretty one, not because it functions well. It's like judging a book based off its cover, etc., etc., etc. It's not that aesthetics don't matter, it's that there is function underneath that needs to be of first magnitude, and everything else comes afterwards. I think that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys later. Good journey. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, give the dog a bone. You can follow us on our other social media accounts, and if you really like us, you can head over to Amazon and buy a shirt. You can also go over to Gumroad and purchase some of our instructional courses. All of the links will be provided and also on our website. If you happen to be in the Phoenix area, we would love to meet you. Come drop in for a class, even just to chat. And if you're looking for a new home, we would be happy to have you. So until next time, good journey.